the peak of Unreal 1 development, we had about 20 people working on it, which was a huge team for the time, and it was really stretching Epic's finances nearly to the breaking point.
Hmm.
We barely survived and almost ran out of money a number of times, but somehow we always pulled through. And it was a crazy project because it was 3.5 years of development in a game that we always thought was 6 months from shipping. And it was like 3.5 years of 70 or 80-hour weeks for most everybody working on the project. Not even knowing what problems we'd need to solve next because we were so immersed in the current ones.
Were there moments when you were losing hope that this might take too long and the company will run out of money?
We were, we were always very financially stressed, so I was continually worried about that. I had total confidence that we'd work out all of the technical and artistic problems because, we knew the pieces, and it was largely a matter of typing code in and solving some problems. And kind of like we knew we could ship a version of it. And the thing that was continually really interesting was the ongoing discovery of new techniques as we went. Because at the time Quake had shipped, it had a little bit of dynamic lighting. Unreal really pushed dynamic lighting much higher than anybody else had done before. Having colored dynamic lights with some shadow casting capabilities statically, or moving lights without shadows, and figured out how to do volumetric fog, so you could have foggy areas that were full of lights, and you get the kind of glow of the lights standing out in the fog and affecting the appearance of the level. A whole lot of amazing techniques came together to build a game that made a number of leaps ahead of the state of the art at the time. Um, uh, yeah, it was really crazy, but like I think most companies wouldn't have survived that, but the sheer talent of the people involved made it possible. And that's Epic has often done things that most companies would have failed at, and we succeed, like, not because of awesome management or awesome planning, or awesome financing, but because of the sheer talent and willpower of the people involved to make it happen.
What about the interdisciplinary aspect of it? Like you said, sort of artists, engineers, or programmers, designers, all of them working together. What was that? The 20 people. What was the dynamic there like? Working insane hours. Like, what was it like to sort of make a team like that work together well as an orchestra to actually deliver the game?
Yeah, that's one of the really unique things that exist in gaming, not in normal big tech companies, which are just engineering and business driven, but gaming really does require all of the best people across all the creative disciplines working together. And Epic had grown organically by recruiting people with awesome talent. We always had a limited budget. We could never pay to hire, bid up people's salaries and hire them away by paying them more. We just had to find awesome people who were at the beginning of their career and put them together. And so everybody was very new to this, and didn't have any assumptions about how companies worked. And so you put all these people together, and that it was really a constant interplay of talent as people were learning how to work together as a team. Like nobody had management experience. Most people hadn't shipped a game before they worked with Epic, and we were figuring out as we went. But it was a constant iterative cycle. We'd make several new versions of the game every day. Read a new compile, introduce a new feature, or fix some bugs. Get it to the artist. Artist improve their levels. Continue building stuff, and then we see what they're doing in their levels. Like, I see what you need now. We'd constantly be improving the tools, and just the iterative process and the speed at which that improves products is the critical element to success in games. The slower the iteration cycle, if you make a build every week, and you go through one iteration every week, you're gonna be way, way, way worse by the end of your project than a game company that makes, new stuff every day. And, yeah, that was the magic that happened together, and there was really nothing but passion and everybody's individual dedication to it that made it work.
I heard you still program, but how much programming were you doing back then? You mentioned the hours, probably insane hours. So, like, it'd be almost fun to talk about your setup. What a day in the life of Tim Sweeney in the '90s when you were building Unreal looked like.
Well, we'd all gravitated towards a work schedule that maximized productivity, and that usually meant waking up late. I usually get to work usually work till like 2 a.m. or so. 3 a.m. sometimes. And,
Nice.
I didn't have anything else going on in my life, so it was really just work and sleep and occasional eating. And uh, I found I always needed 8 or 9 hours of sleep a night. Without good sleep, I would just become a zombie and wouldn't be nearly at my best. So I always needed to get sleep, but I didn't need anything else going on. So the programming itself was so energizing and enthralling. Um, yeah, so it was 3.5 years of that during the project. Mostly spent programming. I'd say probably 60 hours a week of programming, 5 hours a week of coordinating with other people and iterating and sitting down with them and looking at what's going on screen and figuring out what they needed. Maybe 5 hours of business stuff. There's a good division at labor then. I didn't have a big executive team, but it was like basically myself running the technical and development part of the company, and Mark Rain running the business part of it, doing deals and maxing out his credit card and going around the world doing bringing in sources of revenue to keep the company funded.